Hey everyone, I am Howard, and this is Otter's Corner, where we discuss all things related to retirement. Now, very recently, a lot of YouTubers were responding to a video put out by the infamous Dave Ramsey. And for those of you who don't know, and if you're in retirement, you're probably aware of Dave. Dave is one of the largest, has one of the largest followings on multimedia platforms, throughout television, radio, internet. One of the largest, biggest organizations advising people on financial everything. He's very well known for helping people get out of debt and start saving money and unfortunately investing. And part of the problem I have with Dave Ramsey is while he seems to intend to help people, he comes off as very gruff, mean, angry, and a lot of his advice is simply wrong. And we have an example today. Very recently, that YouTube video he put out was a response to someone asking about a 4% withdrawal rate in retirement. And what they were asking about is, how much of my portfolio can I safely withdraw every year, adjusting for inflation, and have enough money to live for a 30-year horizon? And the reason we talk about 30 years, and financial planners will do this, I am not a financial planner, but understand this is what we all look at. The reason we look at a 30-year horizon is not because you're probably going to live 30 years, because you're probably not. If you retire at 65, 67, you're probably not going to live 30 more years, but you may live another 30 years. And the risk is not dying young and leaving money on the table. The risk is outliving your savings or living to such an old age you don't have enough of a cash flow, whether it be Social Security or money from your portfolio, to sustain you through the rest of your life. So be safe, plan for 30 years. If you die young, you're not going to care. If you have heirs to give that money to, so be it. There's money there. Don't live in destitute in your old age. So anyway, Dave Ramsey got very upset with this 4% rule, and he suggested that you safely be able to withdraw 8% a year. How did he land on this number? Well, he invests 100% of his portfolio in mutual funds that he claims return 12% a year for decades. And 12% minus 4% inflation, which is what he's estimating inflation will be, gives you 8%. It's foolish. It makes no sense. Beyond the fact that 12 point minus 8 is minus 4 to get to 8 is kind of ridiculous. But don't invest 100% of your portfolio in stocks in retirement. All the research shows that the safe investment in equities is somewhere between 50 and 75%. Personally, I'm in that range. Whether you're inside or outside that range, that's up to you, obviously. Below 50%, you're probably going to not have enough growth to sustain your portfolio. Over 75%, the volatility is too extreme to be sure you're going to get through retirement. There could be years of too large losses that will decimate your portfolio once you're withdrawing from it. Prior to retirement, if you want to invest 100% in stocks, there's many instances where that makes sense. Anyway, the other thing Dave doesn't understand, and this was some of the other YouTubers attacked him on, is he didn't look at sequence of return risk. So while you may say, okay, in the past there was a 12% annual return on the S&P, I think it was more like 11.5, 11.6%. That's what's going to happen going forward. And I've heard Dave say this before, hey, it's not rocket science. You look at the mutual funds that have earned a big return in the past and invest in them. Well, again, that goes against what every research project shows, that past history doesn't suggest that that's what's going to happen in the future. Just because you earned 12% before doesn't mean you're going to earn 12% in the future. And as research also shows, most mutual funds, the vast majority, do not outperform the S&P 500 or just an index of the total stock market. So let's throw that aside too. Let's, for argument's sake, say we are going to earn 12% every year, or not every year, but on average in the S&P 500. Here Dave makes the biggest mistake is he fails to look at sequence of return risk. And what sequence of return risk means is that every year the stock market's going to have some return that's not the average. Some years it's going to lose a lot of money. Some years it's going to make a lot of money. Some years it might break even. If it averages 12%, fine if you can keep your money invested. But when you're taking money out of your portfolio, you cannot withstand large losses in the early years of retirement. And these other YouTubers showed using various software packages, Portfolio Analyzer is my favorite, that you plug in, okay, I'm going to take 8% from $1 million portfolio, I'm going to adjust it for inflation every year, I'm going to invest it 100% into the S&P 500 or total stock market fund. What are the odds my money will last for 30 years? And most of these software packages returned answers somewhere in between the low 30% to just into the lower 40% of a success rate. Now, if it's me, I do not want to retire thinking I have a 60 to 70% chance of my money running out. But I'm going to show it a little bit more granularly. I'm going to show an actual example of the risk we're looking at. And again, I'm going to go with Dave's assumption of a 12% average return and a 4% annual inflation rate. And again, the inflation rate is going to vary. That's going to be 0% in some years, as we've seen. It's going to be 8-9% in some years, as we've seen very recently. But for argument's sake, we're just going to leave it at 4%. So if we start with $1 million and we're withdrawing 8%, which is $80,000, here are the amounts each year that we would need to withdraw based upon that 4% inflation. So that by year 8, we're going to need $105,000 a year. So we started with $1 million, we took $80,000, now we have $920,000, and boom. First year in retirement, the stock market lost 30%. Now remember, recently there was a year where it lost 50%, so this is not out of bounds here. This just goes to show you the risk involved. So after that 30% loss, now we're at $644,000. And we're going to go through each of the years. After we take our money out, now we have $560,000, the market went down another 20%. 2 bad years in a row have happened. It's not, outside the realm of believability or possibility. After that, we're $448,000. Next year, market getting a little better, we're down 10%. And then boom, huge bear market. Huge bear market. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years in a row of double-digit returns. This is great, right? How can you lose? Well, what's happening here is you see that your portfolio's gone down so much for the few years that the amount of dollars it's growing, even though you have large percentage returns, is now lower than the amount of dollars you have to withdraw from your portfolio at that 8% plus inflation. So you see the amounts, the balances cycling down to 90, to 60, to 30, 160, 76,000, so that by the 9th year, when you need 109,000, it ain't there. You're depleted, you're gone, your money's gone. This is 8 years, and what's our average return? 12%. We average 12%. So understand, averages are different than sequence of returns. We average 12%, but our sequence was not 12% every year. And Dave seems to forget that. And again, Dave makes a lot of mistakes. I think Dave just likes to be controversial. I don't know if he missed this, he doesn't understand it, he doesn't get it, he doesn't care about it. I don't know, but he's wrong. And every YouTuber who's reviewing this will tell you he's wrong. This just shows you a real life example of what can happen. So again, be safe, confer with people you know, listen to the YouTubers who know what they're talking about, Ben Felix, Rob Berger, The Plain Bagel, Aaron Knows Money, there's a lot of them out there, a lot of bad ones, so understand the difference between good and bad. Be safe, please subscribe to my channel. Please like my videos. Please comment. Tell me what you think of this. Tell me what else you want to hear about. Thank you for being here. I'll talk to you again next time. Bye, everybody.